Stella. Welcome to the show. Your past does not define your future. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Your past does not define your future. This is episode 3, and I'm glad you could join us again. I hope you're enjoying the shows, and I'm loving all the feedback. Please keep it coming. Today, I want to talk about self esteem and self worth, self confidence. What I've found over the last couple of years, we're in June 2022, and obviously the world has been in shutdown, gone through a pandemic, and lots of situations have changed for people over the last couple of years. And people have gone through losses, lots and different types of losses, depending on who you are. So you can have a loss of your job, a loss of your career, a loss of your business, a loss of a loved one, a loss of your family due to isolation. So there is still a lot of loss going on because of this. And what I've found is talking to my clients and the workshops that I do and talking to other people, what I found is that people have now developed social anxiety. They don't have the confidence that they had before the pandemic hit. Before the pandemic, people were living their lives, going around doing their business, going to work. Everything had a future to look forward to. Then we got locked down, and that's when our brains were doing something that we weren't used to, which was, I can't plan for the future. I can't travel. I can't go see my parents. I can't go see my grandparents. I can't go see my children. So as human beings, we want to be able to look forward to the future. We want to be able to make plans to go out for dinner, make plans to go to the movies. It doesn't have to be plans like traveling, going around the world trip, all those sorts of things. Just everyday little plans. None of us could make. We couldn't plan for the future. We couldn't decide ourselves what we wanted to do. There was all of these restrictions, whether it was venue restrictions, masking restrictions, travel restrictions, or social distancing, isolation, all of these things. And all of this has made a big part on people's self-confidence and self-esteem, because we were alone for such a long time. So one of the things that I noticed myself was that I enjoyed being at home. I enjoyed having that time to be able to do things that I hadn't been able to do because I was rushing around so much. So it gave me time to reassess a lot of things. And I'm sure a lot of you felt that way too. Not everyone, obviously, because we're not all the same. However, I found that the being at home, doing the conferences over video, doing webinars over video, doing my clients over video, which I have always done my clients over video anyway, so that didn't change for me. So what happened after we were allowed to go out and mix and go to restaurants, go to stores, all these sort of things? I found that I didn't want to do those things. I realized that I had become hermit-like and I was enjoying this. And if I was invited somewhere or wanted to go out for dinner or something, I had to really think about it. And it was making me very nervous and very anxious to go out. And then I found out, talking to my clients, that I wasn't the only one that felt this way. So we have a section of the population that were fearful, anxious, panicked about going out into the world again. There were people who were anxious to get out into the world and get out of the isolation and get back to some sort of normality that they recognized. But once they got there, they had forgotten some of their social skills. They had forgotten not forgotten, but we've got out of the habit of using our social skills, because everything we do is unconscious. We walk unconsciously, we drive unconsciously, we talk unconsciously. Everything is unconscious living. And so therefore, when we were in isolation and when we had to have a new way of looking at ourselves, at looking at our situation, and we had to adapt. When we adapted to that, we then had to readapt to get into the outside world. This took a toll on lots and lots of people. Depression, anxiety, suicide, anger, fearful. The amount of fear is unbelievable. And now what's going on in the world, doesn't matter where you live, there is unrest in a lot of parts of the world today. And this is because some of the reasons are that we're out into the world and we have short fuses. We get frustrated very easily. We get angered very easily. And what a lot of people are doing, all this built up anger, frustration and everything over the last couple of years, is now boiling over. So we also have the section of the population that are not as angry and frustrated. They're more introvert, more depressed, more fearful, and they don't have the self-esteem, self-confidence going on. So what can we do about this? So if you're one of those people, you have to bring back the tools that you had before. Now, for some people, they didn't have them in the first place. For example, young children. So if a child was 2.5, 3 years old at the beginning of the pandemic, at the end of the pandemic, they were 5 and 6. They hadn't been to school. They hadn't been to daycare. They hadn't been anywhere. They'd just been in and around their family. And that could have been an extended family, or it could have been one person, a single parent. So their social skills were not developed as they would normally have been done. So they have to relearn. And I think this is one of the things that is a challenge for the teachers right now, is that reintroducing the students back into the classroom was, for some students, very stressful and very anxious, because they had been living one way for such a long time. And a lot of you know, it only takes 21 days to form a habit. And we were in isolation for more than 21 days. So we formed other habits. So what I'd like you to do is look at how you are performing in society right now. How are your emotions when you go to a networking event, when you go to the store, when you have coffee with someone, when you have lunch with someone, or when you go to pick your kids up from school, or when you send them off to school? What are the emotions that you're going through that you did not have before the pandemic? Now, depending on what part of the world that you live in, there's lots of social factors in your part of the world. In America, where I live right now, we have a lot of unrest, and we have a lot of mass shootings. So parents are very concerned about their children going to school and what they have to go through when they do go to school, and all of the active shooter drills that they have to do. So think about how you are feeling about these things. And what I like for you to be able to do is, because part of my show is, yes, to highlight different parts of how our unconscious mind works and how our past can or cannot define our future, is to give you some sort of solution each episode. So what I'd like for you to be able to do is recognize how it is, be mindful and be aware. So a lot of people say, oh, live in the moment, live in the moment, live in the moment. But it takes practice to do that. So if you are aware of how your feelings are, then you can be at that present moment. You can then look at what triggered that emotion. Was it the fact that you left the house? Was it the fact that you have to drop your children off at school? Was it the fact that you have to go back to the office and you prefer remote learning? Is remote learning, remote work, remote earning, remote learning, all of it. But you prefer to work from home, but you have to comply with the rules and regulations of the people that you work for. So check in to see what these emotions are that you're feeling: anxiety, fear, frustration, anger, hopelessness, depression, all of those. And then I want you to pull up some resources. Remember something from your past that made you feel really confident. So, for example, the day you graduated, the day you got married, the day you had a baby, the day that you had a fantastic birthday party, the day that you got your first job, the day you got your first paycheck. Something that made you feel really confident. You know, you got your degree, or you passed an exam, or you learned to drive, or, it doesn't have to be something major. It can be something very simple. First time you did a workshop, first time you won an award, first time you managed to string 5 words together, whatever it is, whatever it made you feel confident. And I want you to bring up that memory. And as you bring up that memory, really go into that. Be really associated with that memory, like you're actually there again. And get that feeling of confidence, that feeling of achievement, and really feel that feeling. Once you get that feeling, have that feeling wherever you feel it, whether it's in your chest, whether it's in your throat, your head, your stomach, wherever you feel it, have it move so that it engulfs your whole body. And really stay with that feeling. And once you then stay with that feeling of self-confidence, feeling grateful, feeling good about yourself, then go about your day. Then go into that situation that was fearful. Then go into that situation that made you feel anxious, and go into that with confidence. So whether that's you going into the boss's office because you want a raise or you want better benefits, or whether that's starting your own business, or whether that's sending your kid off to college, whatever it is, if you feel that feeling of anxiousness, fearfulness, frustration, bring up something that made you feel so good. And we've all got at least one memory, regardless of what our past has been. We've all got at least one memory where we felt good. Bring it up and have it go all over. And take a deep breath and be in that moment. And when you're in that moment, then go about what you're doing. And then throughout the day, be aware of what your triggers are. And once you're aware of what your triggers are, you can then bring up memories, bring up solutions to overcome that. Or if you're going to therapy or a professional or something like that, you can write down those triggers and talk them over. But there's always a solution. What happened to you in the past, and I'm talking about isolation and everything, is only 2 years ago, but it's still the past. Something that happened to you last week is still the past. And something that happened to you when you were a child is still the past. We all have parts of our past that we bring into our present, and then we react to that present. And some of our isolation and some of the things that we went through with the pandemic did bring up things from our childhood past, did bring up things from other parts of our lives that made it even harder to deal with what was going on. But some of these I'll cover in other episodes. My next episode is going to be about how our childhood affects what we do today. Other episodes are going to be about parenting skills. Other episodes are going to be motivational and being able to motivate yourself, knowing where you've come from in the past. So I hope you tune in during my next episode. I love your feedback from this episode. You can find me on all my social media channels. There'll be a little screen come up after this that shows you all the social media that you can follow me on. I also have a blog on mindsetstrategies.com, is my newsletter, is my website, and also where you can find my blog. Again, it's got more information, more tools, everything like that you can use. And of course, on Everyday TV, which is where I am now, Everyday Woman TV. You can find other people on here also that you can also get more information from about different things and motivation. So I would really encourage you to have lots of positive things around you all of the time. And whether that's you work from home and you have a podcast going on in the background, or some music going on in the background, or even if you're at work and you're not able to listen to things or watch things, but you can have post-it notes. You can have little notes on your desk, or you can have screensavers, always positive affirmations, positive things, or the memory that makes you feel good. So have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Helen Vella signing off. And remember, mindset is the key to transformation.